You can turn on your light and let it shine. And perhaps the teenagers may see. It lets them know that there is indeed a light out there for them. Sometimes steady, sometimes flickering, but a light nevertheless. It takes fuel to keep your light shining. Food, sleep, peace and quiet that can be bought with money, love that requires no money, and friends to love that only requires courage. And if you let the teenagers come close to you, stand right there next to you, they wonder at how you make that light. Then wondering how you do it transforms into practicing. 2 lights, 3 lights, more lights, all flickering can make space bright. If you have a light that shines, bring the teens in close without trepidation. My promise, by the warmth of my light, it will be brighter. The shadows that dim your hope are always going to come and go, but reflect on this. Fixing is impossible. Helping is hard, but serving is easy. You don't fix because no one is broken. You don't help because no one is weak. You serve because serving makes things whole again. Fuel your light and let it shine.
Beautiful people, this song starts off a little something like this. You're gonna go lap, lap, clap, clap, snap, snap, clap, clap, lap, lap, clap, clap, snap, snap, clap, clap. And for those of you who have never done this song before, we're going to be singing My Voice Has Power to Speak My Truth and Share My Light. Each one of those words are 5 letters, so it is kind of like a call and response situation. But just so you can jump in with me, I'm going to melodically form the phrase in my face and hope you jump in with me. Break it down like this, it goes, ha. My voice has power to speak my truth and share my life. Help me out. My voice has power to speak my truth and share my life. My voice has power to speak my truth and share my life. Your turn. My voice has power to speak my truth and share my life. Left brain, voice, V-O-I-C-E. Power, P-O-W-E-R. Speak, S-P-E-A-K. Truth, T-R-U-T-H. Light, L-I-G-H-T. And I'm gonna let it shine. Question. Who has the power? My voice has power to speak my truth.
So many people talk about what our culture needs. Our culture needs listening. We have a quote that says, before the next confrontation, we must have a conversation. In order to have a conversation, we must first learn to listen. And in order to listen, we must all be still.
Repeat after me. I will bring my whole self to the space.
I will bring my whole self to the space.
I will.
I will.
And what I'm going to invite you to do is to melodify those mantras. One half will sing the first part. The other half will sing the second part. I will bring my whole self to the space. I will bring my whole self to the space. I will bring my soul. I will bring my soul.
As we transition to this next part, we're going to invite you into a sacred space where we call it no crosstalk share, right? And And what we would like to invite is you to speak from your heart on where you are today. We have had 3 very significant things happen that we're all internationally connected to. This COVID-19, this pandemic, that is the first time in 100 years, that has spread itself throughout the world. This idea of self-quarantining, social distancing, that has brought many of us home. It's challenged many of us in the definition of what home is. The murder of George Floyd, his death, and what that has brought our communities, expression of our people around the entire world through the peaceful protest, through rioting, has opened up a voice, right, that embodies what Daverse Lounge always talks about. My voice has power to speak my truth and share my light. And so as this microphone is passed around the circle today, I ask that you consider the one word that is repeated 3 times in that statement. My voice, my truth, my light.
I'm feeling very uncertain. I have been for, I don't know, the past, 2-3 months or so. Not knowing what to say or the right way to say it. And with the racial issues we're facing right now, I want to have a voice in it. I want to be a part of this movement. But I've found it so hard to be in touch with how I should go about that, those steps that I need to take. This isn't a trend, this is their life, this is our lives. This whole media thing that's going on right now, the hashtags and the Blackout Tuesdays, I hope it's not just for show. And that's just how I've been feeling lately.
I felt confusion and I felt clarity. Specifically at the state of the world. I believe at the same time that this pandemic is going on, the world is using the chaos to heal itself. The halting of industrialization, the halting of us using our cars, of us going here and there, the non-focus of the world. The world recognized that, and I felt it. And in that, I felt joy. People are enraged. People are confused. We now have to revisit a concept that should have never been a concept visited anyway. And of course, with that, I speak of the racism, the systemic racism that's going on that we see now. But also, in that, my heart is heavy, but it's full. In that, I see people trying desperately to come together, just like you and I. I see people desperately trying to find an answer to the lost unity. And I think, truly deep down in my heart, you guys, that we're gonna find it. May not be this era, may not be right now, but I do think that we'll find it.
Southern trees bear a strange fruit, blood on the leaves and blood at the root, black bodies swinging in the southern breeze, strange fruit hanging from the poplar trees. Pastoral scene of the gallant South, with the bulging eyes and the twisted mouth, scent of magnolia, sweet and fresh, and then the sudden smell of burning flesh. Here is the fruit for the crows to pluck, for the rain to gather, for the wind to suck, for the sun to rise, for the trees to drop. Here's a strange and bitter cry.
I have been mad, been ready to fight, to riot in the streets, to write dissertations on another dismembering of black freedom. Since it stood tall before the coffin ships named Jesus, I have been enraged to tears and irreconcilable anger. But this time, the tears cannot come. The well is dry. Water is exhausted from the memorials our black masses ignore. Too many black women get killed by the police and it is silent. Too many black trans people get killed by the police and it is quiet. Dying senselessly from our captors' infection because we constantly miss the connection. White supremacy is patriarchy. Black girls be told to choose the boot to their necks and choose the hue of the person doing the harming. Nonetheless, we both die, quiet, and populate the protest front lines. No one thinks to ask if we are blind or just trying to prove our worth, or if it will never work. Maybe next lynch we'll call in sick. Take a personal day to recall the records and read receipts totaling up our oppression in the form of lessons for the other blacks not eligible for dreams of justice, whose right to life is denied like Malaysia Booker and Tony McDade, like Breonna Taylor, agreed to with public antipathy. I am livid now, but I lack capacity. For I have marched enchanted with matriarchal martyrs, hearts gaping open for solace, to be guardian's angel, while my children burning with righteous fury dance with death. I have risked life, withstood tear gas, rubber bullets, and sleepless nights. I have traveled this God-forsaken country to avenge many a black man's death. Learning more each time, few if any would be willing to do the same for my own killing, and still we go. Afraid we will be lost in the hashtags, deemed irrelevant because you cannot remember the last time I cried for you. Because some bodies are born into suicidal ideation, and at the very precipice of horizontal and vertical subjugation, these bodies have not been laid to rest in power, but instead in ire and degradation. So this time, I cannot be ready for another rewind. This record is broken and moving too quickly to notice the flaw in its mind, how it reacts in the key of its own misgivings. The one that does not truly see trans or cis women or any non-man as worthy of living, but wish for uprisings on their own behalf. Reporting live from the latest fatal forecast, the devil is in the details of our mutual demise. I cannot fight for a future where I still must live in lies. With pure hearts, whose humanity is placed second, third, or holistically denied. No. And while I am so sorry, I am unavailable this time.
There isn't a newness, particularly in Black communities, to what is going on. There was a pandemic, a health pandemic in Black communities before the pandemic. There was a poverty pandemic in Black communities before the recession and the layoffs and the unemployment. And there's definitely a pandemic of police brutality in Black communities before this current moment. So nothing that has a national emphasis right now is new to me and to many people I know who have been doing the work. October in Deep Ellum was the last time a random person called me the N-word who was driving by. You know, these issues are personal. I think what is new is the amount of allies, the amount of white people that when you turn on the TV and see who is protesting, the melanin in the streets is different. You have people walking the streets in Highland Park and University Park saying Black Lives Matter, so that is different and that is hopeful. That the plans, we have decades of plans. The solutions aren't things that our ancestors haven't figured out, that the people who come us haven't figured out. We know what we need. The circle knows what we need, and locally in Dallas, and it is really moving and removing and restructuring power to give space for all the wisdom in this room.
Malcolm X was on a corner. I lived on 129th Street in the St. Nicholas Projects, 14 stories high. I lived on the 14th floor, 14 buildings, 14 stories high, right? And Apollo was like 5 blocks away, 125th Street. That's where Malcolm X preached at every day, right? So you come home from school, even as a little kid, growing up in elementary school, the Black Panthers on the roof, you know, and then you got, of course, Malcolm X on the corner. You know, I was baptized in the, you know, the African-American church, the largest in the country at that time, Abyssinia, by Adam Clayton Powell, who was a congressman pastor, who actually brought Black people, you know what I mean, to Congress. And Congress used to get mad because he used to bring Black men to the Congress, you know, to hang out. Also at 13 years old, civil rights, and the first riot that I was in, you know, the uprising that I was in, of course, called the Civil Rights Movement. And of course, I remember when the police jumped out of their cars and started beating on us and shooting to kill. And the lady right next to me got shot and she fell and I turned the corner. I'm 13, okay? At 18 years old, I remember entertaining at City College in Harlem, City College on Harlem. And all of a sudden, the audience was all white, right? And me and my brothers getting ready to go on the stage, and this brother ran up there, busted through the doors, jumped up there, grabbed the microphone and said, "Martin Luther King just got killed. All you white people better get out of Harlem," because City College was in Harlem. We've been grieving since we got here, because we've been losing Black folks all the way back. Not only do I have PTSD, I got PTSS, which stands for post-traumatic slave syndrome. So people want to know why we are grieving and why I'm stuck in anger. People are stuck in that right there phase of grief. Remember, shock and denial and anger, that's the first 3 stages of grief, where we grieve in the loss, right, of so many. And so a lot of folks get stuck. How do we get to that acceptance stage? This is where Daverse Lounge come in at. This is where all of you come in. This is where every single one of us, why we have to stay healthy. I can't give you something that I don't have. And if I'm not healthy, you know, I know how to pass on some trauma and drama. Can we pass on like with Daverse Lounge, why God put Daverse Lounge in? Can we pass on? Can we express our truth, our voice, our life, right? In health, wellness, love, right, and recovery.
Let there be L-I-G-H-T. We can see. Let there be L-I-G-H-T.
One more time for the mind.
Let there be L-I-G-H-T.
It's time to get up, get out, get more than I had. Hold up, wait a minute, I'm blessed on my path. But that doesn't excuse the mistakes I made. Cause I'm a better man for my mistakes today. I extract the lesson, become the blessing. These stories I'm telling, release the stress, reciprocity, give and receive. I'm not the loneliest power you see in your experience in life's escapades. If life give you lemons, then make lemonade. Yo, this is my story, here comes the new page. Time to open up in the face and engage. Come on.
Let there be L-I-G-H-T so we can see. Let there be L-I-G-H-T. Let there be L-I-G-H-T so we can see. Let there be L-I-G-H-T.
Yo, once upon a time I was 5 years old, entertaining angels surrounding old souls. I grew up in the church, the Black Baptist way. The elders always had something to say. I tried to listen, hear and obey, but the curiosity always got in the way. I never really needed to be in the streets, but my aunts, uncles, and cousins all around me, attracted by drugs, sex, and addictions. Dad not around, no one would listen, unless I truly had something to say. Yo, I'm caught up, what more can I say? Come on.
Let there be L-I-G-H-T so we can see. Let there be L-I-G-H-T. Let there be L-I-G-H-T so we can see. Let there be
Check
L-I-G-H-T.
it. So now I'm working the blocks and robberies, slanging them dubs, high ass can be. Copying every fad I see till I found that pen in poetry. Now I'm out of the trouble store, rocking the mic and rocking the spots while I'm passing the mic. Dang, I got a brand new baby. Now responsibility is calling me to actions of being right, but my ego still wants the spotlight. So much healing left for me. Examining H-E-A-R-T. I guess I use this pen in poetry to cleanse my soul and guide my feet. Cleanse my soul and guide my feet. Let there be light so I can see.
Let there be L-I-G-H-T so we can see. Let there be L-I-G-H-T. Let there be L-I-G-H-T so we can see. Let there
it never leaves you the desire for humanity to be humane. It never leaves you on any given day. That's what you fight for, that's what you think about, that's what your art is about. You revolt in your food, you revolt in your spirit, you revolt in every way possible because you want to be a living example of what humanity should be. This time, starting with the pandemic, for anything collectively to happen on this planet meant that it was bigger than the people of the planet. Had nothing to do with the people. It was the planet itself. When in the history of this planet, in modern history, has everyone had to take a seat? So for me in the beginning, it was this matter of looking at my own internal heaven. What have I created for myself? Is it good? Is it bad? Where am I in this? And then all of a sudden, the fourth wall comes shattering down. I cannot be sad because for the first time, the planet is riding for us. You got people that have never even seen us before riding for us all over the planet at the same time that the planet got shut down. And somebody said, everybody take a seat. I feel like the embodiment of a silver lining. All I can see is silver lining, and that doesn't mean that it hasn't come without pain. Because I lost a coworker who I loved. I loved this woman so much. I loved this woman so much. And we have not even got to bury this woman. We went and gathered in a garden that she planted. And we had to stand 6 feet away from each other with these masks on our face, and we couldn't scream out into the universe for her name. We couldn't hold each other. What is this? But guess what? It's okay too. It's fine. Because somewhere inside of me, I see the dawning of a new humanity.
I can't say my name in most places like I should, like I was taught at home. My name is Armando Daniel Tomás Banch Segarra, but most people don't try to say it. I have lots of ancestors. I'm Puerto Rican, and I've always been proud to be Puerto Rican, and I've always brought that into the spaces that I came until I got to Texas. I'm an Army brat. I literally have lived on 5 different continents. And I didn't experience the racism that we have here in the United States until I came to Texas. Ironically, I was told I wasn't dark enough. Now, when I came back to school from summer, they say, I see you're Puerto Rican. I was challenged by everybody, all the sides. I wasn't Puerto Rican enough for my Puerto Rican brothers and sisters and cousins in Puerto Rico, and I definitely wasn't white enough for everybody else. What does that mean? That's just my story that I try to bring in with the youth that I work with, to say, I see you. Who you are is who you say you are, and I'm okay with that. I was listening to Ibram X. Kendi speak, and specifically he was talking about how to be an anti-racist. All my life, I've not been racist, but his book and his speaking is about more intentionality, right? So it's not enough not to be racist, that I have to make sure I'm calling the things out, that I'm providing the spaces so that everybody can see everybody's faces, and they can see and hear and be and sit in their discomfort, and me even sit in my discomfort and say, when have I swallowed my tongue and made sure I passed to try to infiltrate where I can to get some work done? And when was that enough? And when can I do more? Because I need to be able to stand up and say, I am Armando Daniel Tomás Banch Segarra. Hear me, see me, and feel me, because I'm gonna do the same for you.
George Floyd. His last words were, please, I can't breathe, but you stayed there still, suffocating him with your knee. Do you have hate in your heart? Or were you just playing your part as a white man in this white man's utopia? America should be spelled with 3 Ks since their favorite hobby is collecting black bodies. It's sad to say that watching you kneel there while he pleaded for his life wasn't even shocking. I'm so numb to white cops shooting first and thinking second, suffocating until death because breathing is a freedom that a black man can't afford. Along with walking, jogging, or running, driving, swimming, listening to music, eating, talking, or yelling, going to the store, riding a bus or bike, working, hanging out with friends, especially if the friends are black too. No reaching, grabbing, or quick movements. No talking back or too loudly. No breathing, no breathing, no breathing, no breathing, no breathing, no breathing, no breathing. Because if you do, you might die. You might be shot or strangled. It's too hard for Mr. White Cop to stay collected while your lungs are doing their job. Every time a black man inhales, his life is at risk. He's lucky if he gets to exhale because bullets are just too fast for a deep breath. And black man, you can only be strangled. You can only hold your breath for so long. I would say come up for air so you don't kill yourself. But if you come up, you could be shot or beaten blue or suffocated. Or a white man might find your neck a suitable place to place his knee until you can't breathe. And the life in you dries up like dried fruit, dead fruit hanged from tree branches. It's strange. I guess when they say they don't want history to repeat itself, they actually meant take away the chains and replace them with handcuffs. And rope is a bit old-fashioned, let's use bullets instead, or hands, or really whatever works to kill a black man, maybe a knee. Oh, and we have to give them rights, but only on paper. We'll build neighborhoods they can't afford to live in because they have no economic history because all their ancestors were slaves. We'll put crack on the streets and they'll be so desperate because we messed them over so badly they'll either start using or selling just to make ends meet. They'll rack up felonies and they'll lose all their rights anyways. This way it's more discreet. It's sick and twisted. I wish I had the answers to fix this. I wish I had the facilities to save every black man's life, but unfortunately I don't. Unity is the only way we'll create change. We need everyone to fight with us. We need to be consistent and intentional. And if you can teach, then do that. Your silence is not going to stop the next black body from finding its way into a coffin. If you need to learn, then listen. A lot of people have a lot to say, so don't be strayed away by the All Lives Matter campaign. All lives do matter, but there are black people across the globe who are in pain. Black Lives Matter too is all we're trying to say. I hope this poem finds souls that need to be touched by love. I hope we can all become activists and fight for a country in a world where safety and justice is not dependent on the color of one's skin, but granted to every citizen. I am living and I am grateful, but I cannot be complacent living in a world that hates who made me, who raised me. Black man, I'm sorry. I'm sorry that you have to live your life in fear of being killed for merely living, for breathing. Thank you.
I'm a black man trying to keep my brothers from dying.
I was raised around different kinds of people, so I was never hateful toward anybody, and I just didn't know that I, as a black person, was hated this much. What did I do? I don't understand. I'm trying to understand, but I want them to understand as well that we are all people. We are all humans. We all breathe the same air. I want them to understand that we don't need to hate each other. There's no need for that. And I'm watching all these people protest, and I'm loving it. I see it. I see they're fighting for us, not just black people, all kinds of nationalities, and I'm loving it. But I'm also seeing the hate, and I'm more aware now of who I am in America. I'm a black female. I'm just lost. I don't get it, and it's overwhelming.
I'm 8 years old. My first experience being called a nigger. I had to ask my mom, what is that? I didn't know. My mom says, well, that just means we have to move. We were living in a predominantly white neighborhood. So we moved to Oak Cliff. Stayed in the hood, as they called it, and I was comfortable. 17 years old. Graduated from high school, joined the Army. Learning to be the best that I could be. My mother always taught me, you have to do double to be considered equal. I didn't understand that. But then I ventured out of the military knowing that my children needed to be settled down. And I got me a corporate job working for the Internal Revenue Service. Racism reared its ugly head again. Yeah, you might have went to the military, and yeah, you might have gone to college, but we don't think that you're management material. My mother always taught me believe in Philippians 11:4. I can do all things through Christ that strengthens me. By the age of 36, I was one of the first black managers downtown Dallas. My heart hurts because these babies have to live through this. I pray to the Creator to eradicate this hate. Love is the only foundation that I want on this planet. Love me for my character, not the color of my skin. You loving me loving you. That's what makes the difference.
Everyone in this world has a need. We have to nourish energy every day, but it starts with getting enough sleep, y'all. Watching what you eat and watching how you think. Everyone in this world needs love. Letting our voices engage in real conversation, that builds us up and invites us to a place to practice self-determination. Everyone in the world needs peace. That to me is positive energy activating community efforts. And that becomes effortless when we're at our best. And everyone in the world needs tribe. Tribe helps us to reconnect in beauty every day. And when you're with your tribe, you don't have to put on face. You can say exactly what you feel and know that it's going to be okay. And everyone in the world needs art. And that's activating real truth for me. And that truly is the spark that invites you to a ritualized transformation. And all this begins with a conversation. So please, feel the need, feel the love, feel the peace. Find your tribe and discover art. But make sure you do all of this with your heart.
My heart beats 1,000,000 times per minute. And I can't help but love the way I do. My love is passionate, it's strong. My love is relentless. My love is black. Black like my grandmother's coffee. My love is resilient like my ancestors. I remember growing up and looking at the brown women around me. I remember looking at my mother's calm or colored skin and thinking, how could God make something so beautiful yet so strong? My mother is graceful like a prima ballerina and as strong as an ox. My mother is just like me. Some say we look alike, but they be lying, cause I look like my daddy. I look like my daddy with dark brown eyes that see this world with open arms and love hard like no other. I look like my daddy. I got a crooked smile that can brighten anybody's day. I look like my daddy with a heart 3 times as big as this room. I look like my grandmother who has arthritis in her hands down to her feet. I look like my grandmother with dark brown skin and tired hands from feeding 3 black girls in the heart of the hood. I look like my granny who planted seeds of black excellence into the minds of the youth. I look like my papa whose accent is thicker than the layers of my dark brown skin. I look like my papa whose feet didn't get shoes to the age of 13 in the streets of Kingston, Jamaica. I look like my papa running fast as possible to America in those track shoes. I look like my ancestors, dark as midnight in the sky. And I'm struggling to find the reason why my people that look like me can't breathe. I look like my ancestors. And despite what this world thinks, I am proud of where I come from. Accepted my color, I be living in my truth. Unapologetic about my color, I am happy to be black. I am happy to be black. I am happy to be black. And I am happy that one day my children will be glad to say that one day they looked just like me.
Okay, there's a lot of angles I could talk through. Obviously, I have a very different background. I'm from an enormous family in the Midwest, an all-white community. I have 53 first cousins. Does anybody have more than I do? So, yeah, small farming community in the Midwest. So just a little background. From the time I was 14, I realized that there were a lot of lies around. I didn't know the word hypocrisy, but I knew the word lie. And one of my uncles gave me a copy of the Constitution, and I was like, okay, we're all created equal, justice, liberty for all. Well, I was like, okay, then we're all going to church, we're coming home, and we're talking about how we hate other people. So I questioned that from a very, very early age. In this space of time, I feel like I've learned a lot of terrible life lessons. One of which is that human beings are really flawed. We have witnessed, Joe and I and Karna have witnessed these eruptions of all, whatever it is, racism, emotion, hatred before. I prayed that it would never happen again, but over Memorial Day, it did, and that's not necessarily a bad thing, because this volcano erupted, and all of a sudden, we do have 20/20 vision. We really see the truth. We see what's going on, still. Now, what do we do with that? I feel like at this point I'm kind of together, but over Memorial Day weekend, I had so many feelings going on that I felt like my heart was going sideways, up and down, back and forth, every way. I felt like I'm too old for this. I could have a heart attack, you know? And I've got to get it together and figure out what am I feeling. So I had to regress to, I brought a visual aid along. Have you ever had these feeling lists? When you go to a therapist and they say, find what you're feeling. Well, usually you find like 1 or 2 feelings. I counted that I was feeling 57 different things. For me, the secret is, how do you transform? It's all about energy. All of this stuff that we're all feeling is energy. It's raw energy. How do we take that and do this alchemic process and transform it into gold? How deep is the love? And if I can go into this infinite, unending well of love, I can find the energy to get real creative. The other word, energy and creativity. How do I get real creative in this situation? You guys have a lot of work ahead of you. I'm passing, Joe and I and Karna, we're passing the baton to your generation. We got the laws in place in the 60s and 70s. The laws aren't being enforced with compassion. So this generation, your younger generation, is going to take it to the next level.
Voice, V-O-I-C-E, power, V-O-W-E-R, speak, S-P-E-A-K, truth, T-R-U-T-H, light, L-I-G-H-T, and I'm gonna let it shine. Question, who has the power? I have the power. How will you use it? I will use it well. I said, who has the power? I have the power. How will you use it? I will use it well. Say there's power in the spoken word. There's power in the spoken word. Say, I have a right to be heard. I have a right to be heard. Say, there's power in the spoken word. There's power in the spoken word. Say, I have a right to be heard. I have the right to be heard. Check it. Welcome to Daverse Lounge, a sacred place, a sacred space where you can get the words up out your heart and out your face and in the ears so those can hear all of those things that you're going through. Even if you need to shed tears, we are here to embrace and hold space so we can actually deal with the healing space we all need. We're living in a time when we're praying for our spirit and mind. Come on, y'all. My voice has power to speak my truth and share my life. My voice has power to speak my truth and share my life. I said my voice has power to speak my truth and share my life. My voice has power to speak my truth and share my life.
I share my light when I'm given the opportunity. With no impunity, can we just do it right? Because I reach to my community. You can be a part of this. You can see we unify true. We gotta live in this life beyond the booth, and I can see that I can speak it as long as I do believe it. I achieve it. I know that it's for the stars that I'm reaching. Farther than anything that I've ever seen. As long as I know where I'm at, my heart I keep it clean. It's cause I'm just trying to reach all of my sisters and my brothers. Life we live in, I know there's a multiple of colors, so it ain't a black or white issue, it's official. We gotta keep it right. Somebody hand my love a tissue, cause we bleeding. I'd rather just find my place in the season to know that we are doing this right. We search for freedom in this time. I know I gotta make sure that we shine. So let your voice be heard, and better just remind them that
my voice has power to speak my truth and share my life. My voice has power to speak my truth and share my life. Left brain, voice, V-O-I-C-E, power, V-O-W-E-R, speak, S-P-E-A-K, truth, R-U-T-A, light, L-I-G-H-T, and I'm gonna let it shine. Question, who has the power? I have the power. How will you use it? I will use it well. I said, who has the power? I have the power. How will you use it? I will use it well. Say there's power in the spoken word. There's power in the spoken word. Say I have a right to be heard. I have a right to be heard. There's power in the spoken word. There's power in the spoken word. Say I have a right to be heard. Countdown, y'all. 4. Tell me what's next after 4. 3. Countdown, tell me what comes after 3. 2. Countdown, tell me what comes after 2. 1. Tell me what comes after 1, y'all. 0. You are charged with the responsibility to speak your truth and share your light. And remember, your voice has power. So use it wisely, y'all. Be on purpose. Create service. All right, y'all.